Well, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the 1 p.m. news here on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. I am Charity Jerome. But first, the news headlines. Former President Obasanjo faults ransom payment, asks government to develop means to tackle banditry. President Buhari welcomes Kaduna College students' return, seeks Greenfield students' release. On the foreign scene, President Duterte apologizes for taking unapproved China COVID jab. And in sports, Chelsea beat Real Madrid, face Manchester City in All-English Champions League final. Details of these and more coming shortly. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has called on the federal government to develop means to deal with kidnappers and bandits heavily in place of paying ransom. He also stressed the need for leaders to ensure the 2023 birth emerges a new federation in the nation, warning that the country may slide into what he described as grand dissolution. The elder statesman made the recommendation when he received members of the Tea Professional Group, led by Professor Zachary Gundu, at his residence within the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. The former president, who condemned the security challenges in the country, insisted that 2023 must mark a watershed for Nigeria. Obasanjo decried that those beating drums of division in the country do not think about the interest of the minority ethnic groups.
We need to be able to feel that there's something in those 27 people should be released without any ransom paid, because I don't believe in paying ransom. Since Monday, then those who kidnap a student from a private university, they can reach out to us. It's after that they kill two of their students. And people are still reaching out, hoping that life can be saved. It's a situation where anybody thinks that paying ransom is the way out. It's foolish. Because when you pay ransom, you encourage. But if you are not going to pay ransom, you must also have the deal heavily, have the stick. I think the point you made, maybe a bit of government turning a blind eye. Of course, when government does not do what people expect it to do, when a situation calls that government.
Well, away from that, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma says security agencies are compiling a comprehensive report to reveal the sponsors of violence in the state. He gave the hint when he featured as a guest on an interview where he highlighted the government's effort at restoring peace in Imo. He was reacting to the attacks on security facilities in the state, including the incidents at the Custodial Center and police headquarters in Owerri, the state capital. According to him, Nigeria is a federation and people can see the trend of crime and violence in various parts of the country. Governor Uzodinma insisted that the present security challenges in Imo and other states were being sponsored by those bent on bringing down the All Progressives Congress-led federal government. He alleged that some politicians were taking advantage of the security problems to score political points ahead of the 2023 general elections.
I want to allow security agencies to do their work. And because the matter is still under investigation, I don't want to preempt the investigations that are going on. But I can assure you, sooner than later, you will see a comprehensive report that will expose the identity of those behind what has happened in Imo State and what is possibly happening in other states of the country. Nigeria is a federation, and you have seen the trend of crime and violence in the country. You also see that we have different cultures. Our behavioral pattern different, but yet you can see some similarities in what is happening in Imo State, and what is happening in Ebonyi State, and what is happening in Kaduna State. Have you asked your question, why is this still more in Imo State? Why is it more in Ebonyi State? Why is it more in Kaduna State? These are core APC states that are really delivering dividends of democracy to the people, to the credit of APC. And that is the only targets these people have chosen. Very soon, we will rise to the occasion. In Imo State, I have decided to confront it head on, and I will ensure that those behind this thing and the perpetrators will be flushed out from this.
The Senate has called on the Inspector General of Police and the Police Service Commission to investigate Taraba State Police Commissioner over the alleged abuse of human rights of 14 residents. The resolution followed deliberation on a motion by the Deputy Senate Minority Leader Emmanuel Boucha over the allegations of human rights abuses of the said persons. Senator Boucha explained that the 14 persons have been in detention beyond what the Constitution stipulated, even without trial. Contributing to the motion, Senators Abdullahi Sabi and Okpeyemi Bamidele noted that the illegal detentions and abuse of power formed parts of the reasons some notable Nigerians are standing against state police. They emphasized on the need for independence of the judiciary as well as thorough investigation into the matter.
Issues that as presented here might require maybe further investigation if need be. But, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, permit me to say also that if this is true, it clearly shows one of the reasons why some people are opposed to, for example, the idea of state police.
A member of a political party had been under siege in the last 24 hours because of some attempt by people who rather should continue to see how we can all work together and now doing everything possible to make it look as if it is a political party affair. And in supporting this motion.
Well, still on the news, the Oyo State Anti-Corruption Agency says the current government possesses the political will to persecute anyone indicted of corrupt practices. The chairman of the agency, retired Justice Eni Esson, stated this during a sensitization media chat in Ibadan. She promised that the agency would investigate any individual linked with corruption, no matter how highly placed, irrespective of political party or social status, stressing everyone was equal before the law. Esson said the agency was not subjected to the control of any authority and would conduct its investigation discreetly and with human dignity. She said that the agency has its competent investigators trained by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, and some more would still be trained. The chairman said the agency had so far received 5 complaints from the public since its inauguration on the 22nd of December 2020. She said that not all the cases investigated would be sent to the AGF for prosecution in court, but some would be settled by the agency and money involved recovered. The increasing cost of food items across the country has continued to generate concerns from many Nigerians who currently struggle to make ends meet. The situation seems to get worse with the pressures of failing wages, unemployment, and other harsh economic realities, just as most Nigerian households continue to reduce their daily food consumption to cushion the current effect of rising cost of food commodities. In this special report, our correspondent David Bello spoke with traders in some markets visited in Ibadan to evaluate the situation.
Nigeria, a country uniquely blessed with vast land and favorable climatic condition for the growth of large range of food crops, is now battling with food sufficiency amidst a rising cost of food items, which has placed significant burden of survival on the people. A development most experts say is traceable to food inflation, which spiked to 2.95% from 21.79%. There are increasing fears, as some analysts also predicted that inflation pressures would probably remain high in coming months. These soaring costs have been blamed on post-COVID-19 consequences, drop in oil revenue, weakened power of the nation's currency, insecurity, particularly the worsened conflict between farmers and herders in Nigeria's agricultural belt that the president has struggled to end, amongst other concerns. Speaking with traders at some markets in Ibadan, they attributed the high cost of food items to the inability of farmers to produce enough for domestic consumption, while others say the ongoing Ramadan season might be responsible.
Foodstuffs, rice, ekpo, pupa, ororo, maggi, and beans and sugar. There are a lot. We are facing a lot of challenges. If you have small money now that you are using, you are managing it for your market. What you are buying at the rate of 100 naira, when you get to market 200 naira, you know how it will be.
At times, even in a day, you have to change price like twice.
The wood we are selling now, even the quality itself is lower than the one when I said before. They are like, let's say the thing we I buy before, like maybe 700 naira, it's now 1,200 naira, so it's very, very affected.
The rate at which fruits prices has gone up, even for us to buy, is a problem. Especially now that it's the fastest season, so it's very expensive now.
They, however, appealed to consumers to bear with them while expressing hope that things would get better, as they also called on the federal government to alleviate the untold hardship brought upon them and their businesses.
Out of that, your children will eat and your family will survive. So how can we do it? And so we are begging our President Muhammad Buhari to consider us.
But now, even if before someone can be able to feed himself now, talk less of the family is too hard. As I'm sitting down now, I'm looking for money. We have to get the money to feed my.
My message to to federal government or state government is to have mercy on all people in this country.
Don and Professor of Economics Musiba Babatunde of the University of Ibadan shed more light on possible way forward.
So many money are chasing fewer goods, so that is certain that the price will definitely go up. Let us focus on the ones that we can easily manage: insecurity, poor roads, whatever we can do to boost agricultural productivity in terms of credit, in terms of agric extension services, in terms of support.
What role then is your state government playing in all this to cushion harsh economic effects? Professor Musiba Babatunde, who also doubles as a special advisor to the governor on economic matters, has this to say.
In case of your state, during the breaking out of the COVID-19, the government empowered the farmers, both crop production level and also at the livestock production level. And that's why in month of February 2021, Oyo State has the lowest rate of inflation with respect to food and also at the general price level.
Whether there would be worse or better days ahead, Nigerians could only hope for divine intervention. In Ibadan, David Bello reporting.
This is to inform the general public and the state government that a corpse has been found in front of Coca-Cola beside Goshen along Mokola-Songo Road, Ibadan. Relevant authorities are hereby alerted to take necessary actions to avoid the corpse from decomposing, which can cause discomfort to residents. President Muhammad Buhari has welcomed the release of abducted students of the Federal College of Forestry Mechanization in Afaka, Kaduna State. President Buhari, in a statement issued by his spokesman, Garba Shehu, also called for the release of the kidnapped students of the Greenfield University and other people still in captivity. President Buhari called for steadfastness and security awareness on the part of citizens and the law enforcement agencies, and deplores the increasing politicization of security in the country by opportunistic politicians. The president appealed for the release of the students of the Greenfield University and all other citizens held in captivity, expressing the strong determination of his administration to ensure that Nigerians lived in a country where everyone can move where they want, when they want, without the fear of kidnapping and banditry. Gunmen had, in the early hours of March 11th, stormed the school and whisked away 29 students and released them 55 days after. Mr. Abdullahi Usman, who is the chairman of the Parents' Committee, had confirmed the release of the students by bandits, although he did not state if any ransom was paid to secure the students' freedom. Well, still on the news, the residents of Idiorogbo, Zone A and C, Adeoyo Road, Ibadan, have called on the Oyo State Waste Management Board to, as a matter of urgency, send vehicles to pick up wastes from the area as it has heaped up from the first week of April. The residents, in a peaceful protest to Splash FM building today, led by the Landlord Association, said the association has been trying to reach out to the designated refuse pickup, but all efforts proved abortive. Speaking on behalf of the association, Mr. Oguntoyibo Olujimi said the last time the waste in the area was picked up was the first week of April, noting that the refuse pickup people informed him that the Oyo State Waste Management Board would send codes to them to pay directly to banks, but he has not showed up since. He, however, urged the Oyo State Government and Oyo State Waste Management Board to attend to the area so as to avoid pandemic in the environment, explaining that the refuse is heaped up in the front of houses in the environment.
Idiorogbo Zone A and C, Adeoyo Road, Ibadan. Lórí ọ̀rọ̀ dustbin ilé àdúgbò wa ni. Ó àti ní àwọn tó máa ń bá wa kó tẹ́lẹ̀ tí gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì assign wọn. But early April la wá rí àwọn kan tán dé tán tó wá kó aside ẹni tó ń kó tẹ́lẹ̀. So ìgbà tá a dẹ̀ bí wọ́n ní àtọ̀dọ̀ Oyo State Waste Management Board ni àwọn ti wá pé there is a new changes to the issue now. Okay. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ṣàlàyé pé bá a ṣe máa sanwó this and that. A dẹ̀ pé okay fine. But láti early April tán ti wá pick refuse yẹn up till now wọ́n padà wá kó àwọn tó kù and kó second picking. But nísìnyí báyìí gbogbo ilẹ̀ àdúgbò ó ti kún and ìgbà táwọn yẹn dẹ̀ wá káná fún wa ní maybe their information àbá ti pè wọ́n láti béèrè pé àárín láti wá túnlẹ̀ èkó bọ̀ nísìnyí mẹ́ta máa pè ilẹ̀ yẹn dẹ̀ ti kún débi pé gbogbo àdúgbò ìdọ̀tí gbogbo ẹ ti ń ṣe ládùúgbò àdẹ̀fẹ́ kó fa àjàkálẹ̀ àrùn.
You're still listening to the news at 1 p.m. on Splash 105.5 FM. Turning to the foreign scene now. President Rodrigo Duterte of Philippines has asked the Chinese embassy to take back 1,000 donated Sinopharm vaccines after he was criticized for taking an unapproved vaccine. In response, Mr. Duterte said China should in future only send Sinovac vaccines, a separate Chinese vaccine which is in use in the Philippines. Sinopharm has yet to be approved in the Philippines. Both Sinopharm and Sinovac are expected to receive WHO approval this week. Mr. Duterte said he only got the Sinopharm shot under a compassionate use clause and that his doctors had advised him to get vaccinated. He also accepted criticism that the use of the unapproved vaccine was risky. Still on the foreign scene, the Secretary General of the South African National Congress, ANC, has refused to comply with his suspension after being charged with corruption. The dispute illustrates a power struggle within the governing party. Ace Magoshule denies the charges and said that he, as head of the ANC, had suspended President Cyril Ramaphosa. The president warned that any ANC members facing corruption charges would also face suspension if they did not leave their spots within 30 days. The NNC tougher code of conduct is being seen as a test of whether the party of Nelson Mandela is serious about ending years of corruption within the government. Now to some sports news. Chelsea set up an all-English Champions League final against Manchester City as goals from Timo Werner and Mason Mount beat Real Madrid 2-0 on Wednesday to seal a 3-1 aggregate victory at Stamford Bridge. If anything, the scoreline flattered Madrid as the 13-time European champions had no response to Chelsea's speed on the counter-attack. However, Werner's cushioned header into an empty net on the 28th minute after Kai Havertz's initial effort came back off the crossbar, and Mount's tap in 5 minutes from the time were enough to seal their place in Istanbul on May 29. Madrid boss Zinedine Zidane welcomed back captain Sergio Ramos from injury for the first time in 6 weeks, while Eden Hazard was handed a rare start in an injury-hit season on his return to Stamford Bridge. Manchester City and England forward Raheem Sterling has received racist abuse on social media. It comes 2 days after English football's 4-day boycott of social media in response to ongoing online abuse came to an end. A spokesperson for Facebook, which owns Instagram, said it had removed the comment and taken action against the account responsible. Facebook added the abuse sent to the 26-year-old was, quote, unacceptable. And just before we go, here's a quick recap of the headlines. Former President Obasanjo has faulted ransom payment, asks government to develop means to tackle banditry. President Buhari has welcomed Kaduna College students' return, seeking Greenfield students' release. On the foreign scene, we told you that Philippines' Duterte has apologized for taking unapproved China COVID-19 jab. And in sports, Chelsea beat Real Madrid, face Manchester City in All-English Champions League final. For more details on the news, you can visit our website on www.splashfm1055.com. Now you can download Splash FM mobile app on iOS, BlackBerry World, and Google Play Store to listen live, get news updates, and opinion poll. You can also report an event live to us through the iReport feature. To download, simply go to any of the stores mentioned and search for Splash FM 105.5 and then click to download. We've now come to the end of the news on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station, and the best radio station in the southwest of the country. The news editor is Tunde Olawuwo, assisted by Abidemi Kajokbola. I am Charity Jerome. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.
Quick, charge at 240.